And I'm really proud of everyone. And being here makes me really happy because during the Title IX investigation, I wasn't allowed to talk about it. You know, I couldn't say anything, but of course that never stopped him. It did not stop him from telling everyone that I was in love with him. What a fucking psychopath he was. But this semester I'm still here. And I'm here, and I'm fucking proud.
There's a lot of talk about how this kind of violence makes us feel alone and isolated, but I don't feel alone right now. I think a lot of us feel that way. This is what we need to do to end this kind of violence. We need to be united. We need to end the silence.
I wasn't planning on speaking today, so I don't have anything prepared, so it's just coming from my heart and my memories. I think what really strikes me, I'm a woman in my 60s, so I was born back in the 1950s. And I think what I've seen throughout my life is that it's very common. It's woven through every thread of society that it's okay to assault women. When I was 7, that was the first time I had an unpleasant sexual encounter. I was a latchkey kid. You guys might not know that term. It meant that my mom was at work when I got home from school and I was alone. My father was disabled and hospitalized, so he wasn't around. And I was getting these phone calls. And I didn't know what to do when I answered the phone. This man wanted to play gas station with me and told me how he wanted to fill me up.
Oh.
And I didn't understand at first what he was talking about because I really didn't know what sex was yet. But he explained it to me. And it took me several weeks before I could get the courage up to tell my mom. Now, the ironic thing is she worked for the police station. So it was reported to the police, and I was told nothing could be done because it wasn't illegal what he was doing. So that was my first unpleasant sexual encounter. At 9, my sister's husband started crawling in bed with me at night while my nephew was asleep next to me. He'd wake me up by spreading my legs apart and sticking his fingers inside of me. I didn't want to tell anybody because the police hadn't done anything before. What were they going to do now? I was 9 years old, you know? And my mother had bipolar disorder. She wasn't stable. She was drinking to self-medicate. I was convinced she would murder him if I told her, so I didn't tell her. My sister was so in love with him, I didn't want to ruin her marriage, so I didn't tell her. I didn't tell anyone until I was about 18 or 19 years old. When I was a little older than that, when I was like 17 and I'd left home because my home life was so bad, and I was living in a very poor little apartment in Northwest Portland at that time. People would walk by my window snorting glue. I mean, this was not a good neighborhood. And I had to work. And my boss coerced me into sleeping with him. And I did. And I hated myself for it. But I was desperate for the money. And what do? It's not wrong. I agreed, right? Then I went, by God, I'm going to do something with myself, and I put myself through college so I could get a degree. While I was working at a restaurant to put myself through college, My boss wanted me to give blowjobs to certain customers. I refused. There were men, though, that would come out of the bar, and I was a very pretty young girl, you know, at 18. Who isn't really pretty, right? I was slender, attractive, and he walks up to me and he's got a group of friends, and he grabs my pussy like Donald Trump did. By this time, I was so fucking angry. I turned to him and I grabbed his crotch. I squeezed his genitals. I looked him in the eye and I said, I don't think you could satisfy any woman I know. His friends all laughed. He never came back to that restaurant. I continued with my schooling, and I got 2 master's degrees. I am a nurse. I am so proud of being a nurse. But let me tell you, even in the workplace as a nurse, I was harassed by physicians. I was asked to go to call rooms, give blowjobs. I was in on a trauma where I was surrounded by other people, other doctors, radiologists, other healthcare professionals. This person was critically ill, and I was in charge of a lot of things. I was doing IVs, I was doing all kinds of things to stabilize him while he was going to be getting a CAT scan. Meanwhile, this asshole doctor, his wife, by the way, was in the other room, was whispering what he wanted to do to me, how he wanted to stick his penis inside me, and what he wanted to do. How could I respond? He whispered it in my ear so no one could hear. Who would believe me? It was 3 years before I ever reported it, because you know what? At that time, there were no laws against sexual harassment. It was okay. And doctors had the power to get nurses fired. I had to work. These are just some of the incidents that have happened to me throughout my life. I think it's woven through every fiber of our country that it's okay to assault women, that women are not equal. And until we are, I think we will continue to suffer. Women are people. Women deserve to be equal under the Constitution. And I know why women don't report it, and I believe every one of those women that spoke out on TV.
Whoever's next, come on. Hi.
To Mom, on safety. On the phone, you say, I trust you, sweetie. You're a smart girl. You always keep yourself safe. I am precious to you, Mom. My precious arms hug you goodbye at the airport, and I always leave you this promise, that I will come back to you whole, because smart girls get home safe and sound. Mom, I need to tell you something, how safety is an illusion that cracked under my hands. See, I've had this conversation with you 1,000 times in my head, and you always ask, sweetie, why didn't you keep yourself safe that night? I tried. It was a sparkling December evening. The concert was magical. The sunset kissed the edge of the stage, and the boy showed me pictures of his baby brother. I didn't think we would all one moment be Midnight's children, that violence could one moment just be passing around an acoustic guitar on his bed. I didn't know it was unsafe to lean in for a kiss when a beautiful boy leans in first. When I flew home 3 days later, Mom, how could I tell you I hadn't arrived safe and sound? Tell me, what can I do to get smart again? Do I stop swaying my body at concerts? Do I stop dishing out the gift of my smile? I wish I could come to you with sorry on my mouth like that night was my doing, but this is not a poem about me. This is not my crime. The next morning when I remembered and trusted that memory, it became a night I wished I could lie about. It would be so much easier to deal with liars than with rapists. It would be so much easier to be a liar than to be raped. Please, I wish I didn't trust my words. Wish I trusted the sureness of my feet walking me home at night. But now my throat constricts with my not lie. My pulse dances with my not lie. Mom, I'm trying to say, forgive me for breaking a promise that wasn't mine to keep. I'm trying to say I'm not a smart girl and I'm not a safe girl, but I am still precious. I am still whole, and I will always make my way home. Thank you.
Hello, I'm not a young person. The first time I was raped, I think I was around 11 years old. And the last time I was raped was in the last couple of years. I went to go to a dance, you know, a place where they had dancing because I like to dance. And I was homeless. And I bought a soda because I haven't drank alcoholic beverage since, you know, 1992, you know. And somebody put a drug in my drink. And I'm not real well. I've had a heart attack and, you know, I have lung problems. I was diagnosed with lung cancer 6 months to live a few years ago, you know, and I survived. But, okay, they drugged my drink and within 10 minutes I had to leave and go lay down because it made me ill. And after I laid down for a little while and I was about to fall asleep, I was outside, right, with just a quilt. Just a polyester quilt, that's it, on cement. You know, somebody came and put something on my mouth so that I could not move or breathe. And guess what? You know, I started being raped and sodomized. And I could not breathe, right? And somebody felt like it was sitting on my head, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? I did nothing to no one, right? You know, and so here I am, right? I was kicked out of safes for having a paring knife to peel an apple before they had turn in your weapons rule, right? So 6 months, I got kicked out for 6 months. I went to TPI and they said, well, you can't, we're not going to help you. You know, go away. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I have an income. I need help getting a place to rent, right? I'm on disability. I've been on disability since 2001, right? And you made me feel like you're a piece of shit because you can't work for me. Not because you don't want to, because you can't. I did try to. I applied for a job and I got in trouble with Social Security in Oregon City, right? Really. So after I was raped, okay, I went to the library and I'm cleaning out my underwear in the sink, right? Because there was bark chips. Whoever dressed me up, you know, whenever time I woke up, whoever dressed me, you know, made sure I was in pain, right? So I'm cleaning out my underwear in the sink and I'm bleeding, you know, and I'm going great. I have to go to my storage room and try to find some new clothes, right? And, you know, so I make it to my storage unit, you know, and I change and I put the old ones in a bag and I go to the heart, you know, the Father's Heart in Oregon City, and I tell him, you know, I was kicked and hit, you know, before I could move, And so I asked the lady there to take pictures of me, right? And, this is all done where I couldn't even open my eyes and move, right? So I have no idea who did this to me, right? Anyway, before that, after I went to the storage unit, I went to Fred Meyer's and I bought me some douches to clean myself out. And they had shoved up my ass something white and powdery, And I thought, okay, they put drugs in my ass to try to kill me off or something. It was so weird for me because I haven't, I don't do drugs and I don't do alcohol, right? And I'm like, okay, what did I do to anybody else, right? Really? Nothing, right? I'm just trying to survive. I'm just an old mom and grandma trying to survive, right? So, so I tell Robin what happened to me and asked her to take pictures of me, and she said she'd report it to the police, and I have a year, I'm told, before I have to make a report. So after 9 months, I finally went to the police house to make a report, and somebody at SACE, right, dressed up like a cop and took my statement, and I'm like, am I stupid or what? And I come here to Portland and I talk to the Portland police and tell them that somebody dressed up that's in a homeless shelter, right, and took my statement. I mean, really, nobody wants to take this serious, right? I was quite appalled by that, right? And then, it's like, it don't matter. It just fucking don't matter. Nobody wants to take people serious that be abused, really. Oh, we can't do anything in Portland about it because it happened in Clackamas County, right? And you go to Clackamas County and they just put anybody in an outfit and say, okay, we took your statement, now go away. Really? It's not right. I have been abused. I took years of counseling for being abused as a child. Okay, I went through enough traumas. And I was abused as an adult besides this time. But really, people on disability and old don't do that shit because they want to go and dance one night and have a soda. I mean, really, get real, people.
Thank you so much to everybody who's spoken so far. I know we have a few more speakers left, and then we're going to march together, so the stack is closed. If you would like to speak, our speakers list is closed, but of course we should continue these conversations, continue sharing our stories with each other after today in order to build this movement. But yeah, our speakers list is closed. We have a few more speakers before we hit the street, so whoever's next, we'll come up.
I did not come prepared today, so hopefully I don't draw a blank because this is a very big crowd. I first want to thank the organizers of this for creating this space for everyone to talk and share their stories of their violence, and also the women and men who come up to speak their truth and bring awareness to this. And I also want to thank the audience, the people who are here to listen with an open mind and an open heart, and are here to stand up and speak up against inequality and injustice and fight for peace and nonviolence in this world and equality. And I could easily share my own experience, my own Me Too experience, but I want to speak on behalf of others today. I want to speak on behalf of the 56 billion animals, land animals alone, that are killed.
Can't hear this woman talk because the guy with the microphone is too loud.
I want to speak on behalf of the dairy cows who are raised to be exploited, whose sexual reproductive systems are meant specifically for us to exploit them, who are raped every single year of their life as far as they can be so that they can be impregnated, and we can take that baby away from them 9 months later once they've had that child so that we can drink the milk that comes from them, and then we discard those babies. I want to speak on behalf of the pigs the mother pigs who are kept in gestation crates for their entire lives in factory farms.
I'm going to try and move around, so I want to be inclusive of everybody in the circle. This is probably the most vulnerable and hardest and most empowered I've ever felt in this town. And I just want to say part of the reason I can be up here is because my comrade Olivia, who I love and adore, we had a moment yesterday and she listened to me and heard me, and I appreciate her a lot. And I also want to say to all of you in this crowd who I've organized with, I just want to thank you for the years of organizing work that has brought me to a moment that I could stand here and share very personally. How many, you don't have to raise your hand, just think it to yourself. How many of you as children, when you came out with your truth about what happened to you, sexual abuse, sexual assault, your mother called you a liar? If you want to raise your hand, go ahead. How many of your mothers have never apologized to you? Do y'all see that? That's me. There's something very ugly and sick and wrong when a parent does not believe their child. When the most awful, nasty thing happens to their child under their own roof, and they do not believe them. That is me. And my mother has still to this day, not apologized to me. And I recently found out that my sister was abused by the same individual, who my mother is still married to. That person is a powerful person in this town. Can't name names right now, but I could bring that person down if I wanted to. Do it! And that person, along with my mother, has done nothing but acted like they cared, acted like they gave me support, shamed me. I am also a proud single mother of 21 years of one of the most amazing human beings on the planet, and I might be biased, but I'm just saying my child's amazing. I haven't come out. I'm not ashamed of the truth of what happened to me, because I know that it wasn't my fault, and it's none of our faults. And this capitalist system is nasty and disgusting, and its tentacles spread everywhere. And it makes us feel like we can't say a goddamn word, but we can, because we should not feel ashamed. Every time they call us liars or ask us why were you there? Why didn't you speak up? You're so loud, you're so outspoken. You were so ashamed. I was recently sexually harassed in my job space as what we call the Tower of Power, Wells Fargo. And because I'm loud, because I'm a loud, outspoken, pretty well-known activist in this town, as well as pretty outspoken in my job space, what happened? I was shamed because you're so outspoken, you're so empowered, why didn't you say anything? That's not the question you should have asked me. We should flip the script around every time, and every time we come out, we empower every single one of us to speak out more and more. This is unprecedented. We're in a public space sharing our truth for probably the first time. So let's give all of ourselves a round of applause. And I just want to also share that I hadn't come out publicly until very recently, because it wasn't... Sorry, this is very tough. I didn't realize. I'll realize you're all staring at me now, but I hadn't come out publicly until now because I hadn't shared that truth with my daughter. I don't know why. I don't know why that shame makes us feel so like we have to hide it, like we've done something wrong. And I was ashamed to tell her because I thought that she would shame me because I didn't protect her from that person. Nothing happened to her, but she was around that person. Unbeknownst to me, that person was supposed to be on probation, not around children. My mother did not tell me that. So when I found that out about 2 months ago, I thought when my daughter knew, she would shame me And that is the opposite of what happened. That child embraced me, cried with me, and I felt more empowered in my whole entire life because of my child. I don't want to take up too much more time, but the thing that resonates really strongly for me right now is there is a term that an incredible anarchist organizer down in New Orleans, some of you know him, Scott Crow, talks about this concept of the emergency heart. And he talks about the emergency heart that rises up inside of us in moments of crisis and all of the things that capitalism does to us under the system that brings us together. And our emergency hearts are merging right in this moment to bring us into a space to speak our truth and our power. We all have our emergency hearts and we are here and we're not going to stop. And when I want to leave with you, I have in my core anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-misogynist, anti-white supremacist, and anti-Zionist politics to my core. And my anti-imperialist politics are pulling on my emergency heart to tell me that I would be remiss if I did not talk about the Palestinian women that I know and that I'm thinking about right now. And those Palestinian women are sitting in jails, girls as young as 12, that was 12 like me, who were called a liar, who are raped and sodomized and oppressed by IDF soldiers in spaces so dark their families don't even know if they're ever going to get out because the state of Israel, Zionist, nasty terrorist state, can hurt those young women indeterminately. And there are multiple Palestinian women in jails. There are multiple women in dark corners of this globe oppressed by imperialist capitalism that we don't even know. So I am trying to resonate and amplify their voices right now because they are not being heard, but they can be heard through us. So I am here not only for myself, for the strength of my daughter, for my comrade Olivia and all of those comrades in this group right now who I've worked with, who I adore you, I love you, I see you. We've been sharing on Facebook. We're not going to stop, we're going to keep it up. We've been revealing truths. We've known each other for years as organizers, and we are just now sharing our most vulnerable truth. That is what brings us together and why we fight so hard.
My name is also Olivia, and I'm with the Democratic Socialists of America. I want to thank Socialist Alternative for putting this awesome event together. It's so great to see everyone out here. As socialists, we understand that capitalism is a powerful tool used to uphold patriarchy and vice versa. These systems are used as cudgels to oppress women everywhere. Women of all lands must unite and stand in solidarity with one another. And that includes standing with the women and girls of Palestine, like Aaand Tamimi, who has been imprisoned for slapping a soldier after her cousin was shot in the face. She has faced threats of sexual violence, and immense gaslighting and manipulation is taking place right before our very eyes. It's being perpetrated by our very own government and media. Aaand is a hero. She refuses to back down from her aggressors. She refuses to be afraid. That does not mean that being afraid makes you weak, that not speaking out makes you less worthy. None of us should have to carry the violence that has been perpetrated against so many of us, and so many of us carry it silently. What it does mean, however, is that when we choose our feminist heroes, we need to look beyond the wealthy celebrities, beyond mainstream female politicians who are often perpetrators of violence themselves against women both at home and abroad through means like austerity and militarism. Women who say the word intersectionality in the same breath that they vote to authorize drone strikes, mass surveillance, and deportations. We must stand in solidarity with those who do not have a voice, with those who are not a safe choice, with those who are brave even when the world is against them. Of course I commend the women of Hollywood for their bravery in spreading Me Too and Time's Up, but which of them would ever speak up for Aaand? Which of them would ever sign a letter standing in solidarity with the women of Palestine, who have led the resistance against the Israeli occupation and faced unimaginable violence at the hands of the American tax dollars which continue to fuel the Israeli military machine? When we talk about violence against women, we must not forget to mention this kind of violence. As the Me Me Too movement continues to empower us to speak out, we must continue to speak out for Palestine. Just as time is up on men who perpetrate sexual violence against women, time is up on staying silent about the violence being perpetrated against Palestinian women. Feminists everywhere should be demanding the liberation of women everywhere, and that includes the women of Palestine.
Whoever's next. Yes, free Palestine. Oh God. Who's next? We have like 4 more. Somebody has to be next. Yeah.
Hello. I just want to give some serious props to the people who have been brave enough to come and tell an entire crowd of people some really fucked up shit that happened to them. It takes so much courage. It's amazing. And I'm going to add to that by talking about some of the everyday mundane harassment that women have to deal with and what I've had to deal with. When I was 13, I caught my brother looking through the window as I was getting out of the shower. And I told my mother about it, and she did nothing. When I was about the same age, my mother's uncle solicited a kiss from me. I thought it was going to be on the cheek, and he turned, and I was forced to kiss his like 80-year-old lips. When I was 22, I was sexually harassed by my boss, who told me that I would look tired when I wasn't wearing lipstick. One time I was adjusting something, I was a dental assistant and I was adjusting the patient's headrest, and he said, "Oh, for a minute there I thought you were going to give me a thrill." That same boss came up behind me, massaging my shoulders and pressing his body up against me, and I wish I would have said, "Is that a nipple, or are you just happy to see me?" Because that's really annoying to have to deal with that shit when he's like twice as old as I am, I'm 22, you know, like, get a grip. I had to fire a male therapist because he told me that he could have sex with his clients because they're vulnerable. Like, not to mention all the street harassment that women face all the time, the hey babies, the you'd be prettier if you smiled, all that bullshit. I had an experience once on a community bike ride called Thursday Night Ride, where I was followed into the bathroom by someone I had been talking to, who locked the door. And when I asked him, demanded that he leave, he refused and started taking things apart in that area. And thankfully, I just bolted out of there. And I left, I went home, and the next morning woke up in tears, literally waking up from my sleep, crying, when I realized what could have happened. And thankfully, I escaped, but that was really traumatizing for me, and I ended up talking to some other people, and we formed a committee, and it turns out there were another victim. We wrote letters, we confronted him, and since then I've been told that there is now a safety committee on that ride. So that's awesome. I'd like to just talk quickly about women's fashion, and I think heels are really shitty because guess what, they're sexy, but they're not sexy because they make us weak and we can't run away. That's bullshit. That's why I wear these motherfucking boots, and I will kick anyone's ass who tries to hurt me. Maybe someday I won't have to walk around with a weapon. I'm like, has anyone seen these? These are so cool. You can fucking stab someone in the neck with these. Okay. So, if women don't know about female urination devices, this is called a P-style. I'm not going to take it out, but it's makes you able to pee standing up, so you don't have to get half naked if you need to pee outside somewhere. Look it up. It's called a P-style. I like to call mine a pocket penis. So check it out. They're really cool. The other thing I would like back, I would like my motherfucking pockets back. What is up with our fucking pockets? We want our pockets back!
Thank you. We have 3 more speakers before we start our march.
Hi. I definitely didn't plan on speaking today. I think for me, I feel like I want to be a reminder that I am someone that is like your sister, your coworker. I'm a mom of a little girl that's this age. I actually know her, so I'm like really inspired by the fact that she's standing there in front of me. But the first time I was raped, I was 14. I was leaving my work at Baskin Robbins, and a friend slipped me a pill. The second time, I woke up with bruises all over myself. There was so much shame. I went to a motherhood social club called Pom Pom Social this week. Tammy Kent, a well-known author in Portland, spoke and was talking about the shame that you carry in your center. And I feel like for me, now that I am a mom, and the things that I want to share with my daughter are, you are important. The center of your body is important. There shouldn't be shame that you walk around with that's so debilitating that you can't leave your home. I was telling a girl that if I didn't look perfect, there would be days in my early 20s where I literally couldn't leave my house. And it actually happens to more people than what you think. Just because you feel like you need to look perfect or act perfect, like perfectionism doesn't mean anything. You know, being here 10 years later, or 15 years later, being able to say something, being able to talk with my partner, having a husband that loves me so dearly that he's like, it's time. Like, it's time to say something. This is who we get to be. For our daughters, for our coworkers, for our community. It's so important, and I am so grateful for this moment. Thank you.
Hi, I'm really nervous and bad at speaking in public, but okay. So, I'm Alaska Native. I grew up in rape culture, like a lot of Natives do. And mine it happened to be in the military, which sucks because, you know, it's with a bunch of men in the military. And then when I finally told everybody about it, you know, did all the things, everybody said, just suck it up, you move on, you know, like, just, yeah. My commander, my sergeant, my first sergeant, everybody. And then they deployed me like a week later. And so I just wanted to say something. Like, I didn't plan to come up here to say something, but I wanted to say something for the women in the military that has to deal with all of this and has to deal with the men, like, not doing anything, and the government not doing anything, and they don't take us serious. Yes. And so, I'm just making this short and sweet. So I just want to say something for military women. We have power.
This is our last speaker, I think. Yeah, hi.
Hi, my name is Kim. I'm the last speaker, and I think that's really good because I'm here to encourage some of you that may be here today. Let me tell you, I'm a registered nurse. I'm a nursing instructor. I've been taking care of women. I've devoted my life to women's health for my entire life. I've been a nurse since I was 19 years old. Yes, with women. That is what I am here for today. And so some of you I am going to talk to right now. I know I have been there. I wondered my whole life why these things have happened to me. And let me tell you, I'm talking to a few of you. If you have been molested, if you have been sexually abused, if you have been the victim of incest, date rape, sexual exploitation, and the worst, ritual abuse, that I have experienced those things. And let me tell you, it is not your fault. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. So if you are feeling ashamed of yourself, and if you cannot look other people in the eye because you do not feel worthy, and you spend your life looking down, and you don't even know what's going on around you because you can't even see, because you're broken-spirited, let me tell you, women, one thing, you are not to blame. 2, you are worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of feeling good. Yes, it is true. And the last thing I want to leave you with, for anybody that can relate to anything I've said, the one last thing that I want to leave with you is something very, very important today, you guys. In case nobody's told you today, God loves you, okay? So just hang tough, women. You know, be strong, and you're worthy.
I just, well, the women's, or the Me Too thing, they finally, not finally, but they stopped having speakers and they were starting to march, and I really had to pee. So I ran in to find a place to go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, the line was very long, and so by the time I got out, the march is long gone. And it seems, I've checked their Facebook page, I don't think they posted any sort of route that I can find, so I have no idea where they went. I don't know why they didn't post a route, and maybe they were worried about being harassed or they just didn't think about it. But anyway, so I guess I might as well go home now since I can't find anyone. But you know, I got quite a bit of footage of the first one, and I managed to hand out cards to about 10 people. Pretty much all of them expressed a fair amount of interest in maybe making a video someday. Even some women that were like, I will totally do a Jaws video. So if that pans out, that'll be wonderful. But yeah, it's getting dark and it's starting to rain, so it's a good time to get out of here anyway. I know there's another event tomorrow that people were asking if I was going to go for the Native American community in Portland, and I'm interested, but to be honest, I'm pretty wiped just from today. So I think I'm just going to edit the video instead tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully if people do go, they can... Okay. Hopefully if they do go, they get some video out there. You know, I would love it to establish like sort of a network of people that care about this stuff, and we can all like, you know, film different events and share the videos, so it doesn't just have to be me at everything. So maybe some people out there, I can find some people that do videos, because I can't be the only non-Nazi video maker in Portland. I say non-Nazi because of the dude that I mentioned earlier that was at the March for Truth that followed me around harassing me. Anyway, so yeah, if you know anyone in Portland or near Portland that that makes videos or might be interested in making videos or might be interested in helping me make videos, let me know and I will happily contact them. Alright, I'm getting rained on and my phone is actually, I have like 2 minutes left of storage somehow, so I'm gonna get out of here. Bye!